All right, thank you. Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Murdaugh, we spent a long time yesterday and a fair amount of time today talking about financial misdeeds.
Yes, sir.
Have you been criminally charged for those financial crimes?
I have been.
And you have pending charges against?
I do.
Okay. You were asked specifically about $792,000 in Ferris fees that you diverted from the law firm. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And I think you were asked about an accounting or where that money went, and it went out pretty quickly, roughly.
Yes, sir.
And you recall testimony that over $500,000 went to Curtis Eddie Smith?
I do.
And what would that have been for?
That would have all been for pills?
For opioids?
Yes, sir. Specifically, all I was taking at that time was oxycodone and OxyContin.
And you were an addict, were you not?
I am an addict.
You are an addict. And did you repeatedly lie to those you love to cover up your addiction?
I did.
And were you concerned that you would be exposed if you didn't continue to lie about your conduct?
I did.
There's some specific things you were asked about, which I'd like to go over. One thing you had referred to a text message that you'd seen later on between Maggie and Blanca. Do you recall that?
I do.
And it's in the evidence as Defendant's Exhibit 54. And Doug, if you could pull that up, please, sir. And if you could highlight the Blanca text. Is this the text message you're referring to?
It is.
And I'll just read it. It says, "T.Y." That's thank you. It says, "T.Y. I'm waiting at Dr. Alex wants me to come home. I had to leave door open at Edisto, but trust Mexicans to shut and lock for me. His dad is back in the hospital. The last doctor claims not cancer, it pneumonia." And then she has some faces. "Alex is about to die. Hope he doesn't go down there to sleep. Alex needs to take care of himself as well." Is that the text message you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
And did Blanca share this message with you after Maggie was murdered?
Blanca ultimately she shared that with me. She first told me that, Maggie was worried about me, how much she loved me, and that she was worried about me, and had texted her.
Okay. Now you were asked, you can take it down, Doug. You were asked questions about conversations around the dinner table on the 7th about, well, didn't eat at the table, but around while you were eating dinner about Paul's health. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Alec, I'm going to show you two exhibits, Defendants 179 and 180, and ask if you can identify these two.
I can.
And what are they?
It's text from Let's see, it's a text from Paw to me on May the 30th.
And then, and what's 180? Exhibit 180 behind it?
That's a picture of Paw's feet.
Your Honor, we'd move defendants exhibits 179, 180 into evidence at this time without objection, I believe.
Without objection, Your Honor.
Submit it.
Pull up. Do you have 179, or we've got to put it on? You can let me put it on the Elmo, please. Alex, do these, does this text message refer to Paul's feet swelling?
They do.
So if you'll do, you can pull it up. All right, go up a little more so we can read it. And it says, from Paul, and that phone number, is that your phone number?
That is. It's my phone number, 1227. My feet swole up. It has something to do with my blood pressure. Get me an appointment as soon as it's convenient.
And what's the date of this?
May the 30th.
2021, right?
Yes, sir.
And if, Doug, if you'll show the picture, I believe this is a blow up of the picture that's in this exhibit 180. Can you pull out? Is that a picture of that Paul had sent you of his feet swelling up?
It is.
Is this what y'all discussed, you know, when you're eating dinner?
Yes.
Okay.
Along with many other times.
You'd also, you were asked questions about your dad's condition and whether he was terminal or not. Do you remember that?
I do remember questions about him.
Okay, and gosh, Doug, I think it's the extended timeline. Is it states 5:30? Is that the right number?
States 520, Counsel.
States 5:20. If you'll pull it up, please. It's already in the evidence. And if you'll go to page 14. And if you'll blow up the entry at 142.54 at the bottom of the page. Alex, is this a text that you and we'll, do you recall this is the text that you and other family members received about your father's condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it says, Daddy was just seen by the pulmonologist in Savannah. His opinion is dramatically different from the other doctors. He thinks Daddy has pneumonia and needs to be hospitalized to be treated for pneumonia. He thinks there could be an obstruction, but is more confident that it is all or mostly pneumonia. Daddy is being admitted to Candler St. Joseph Hospital now. He will have a study done to see whether or not there is an obstruction, and his treatment will be tailored accordingly. Right now, his pulmonologist does not. Go to the next page. Does not believe that he'll be getting radiation treatment, and in fact, the pulmonologist says that the palliative radiation treatment to try to open the airway is a Hail Mary. In his opinion, would most likely not work. Then it goes on to say, if he is right, and this is pneumonia, is much more treatable and can certainly give the immunotherapy a chance to work. Is that what you're referring to?
That's the text I was talking about that came when talking to Jeannie Seckinger.
Okay. And and this wasn't a terminal diagnosis on the 7th, was it?
Not on the 7th. That was actually a little bit of positive news.
Okay.
It was short-lived, but it was positive at the time.
You can take that down for now, Doug. But stay on that exhibit. Alec, you were asking, if you'll go to page 46, please, the same exhibit, 520. Page 46. And if you'll highlight and blow out the 90218, Alex Murdaugh's iPhone shows Now, Alec, do you remember being asked about these steps, 283 steps traveled during this period of time?
I do.
And I think you testified your belief was you're just getting ready to leave to go to your mom's house. Is that right?
That's correct. I mean, that would have been the time I was right before I left to go there.
And you were, looks like you had made some phone calls during this period of time, correct?
Yes, the record show.
Alec, did you have Maggie's phone with you at any time between 9:02 and 9:06?
I didn't have Maggie's phone with me any time that night.
And Doug, if you'll go to page 45, please. If you go to the entry at 8:53:15 to 8:55:32. What am I missing? Can you go, you're missing it. Go up one more entry, please. The one that records steps, please. And then take it all the way to the bottom, Doug. Thank you. This is in evidence, and this is Agent Rudowski's timeline. It says Maggie Murdaugh's phone, iPhone shows 59 steps traveled between 8:53:15 and 8:55:32. Were you walking with Maggie Murdaugh's phone during that period of time?
I wasn't walking with Maggie's phone any time that night.
And if you'll look at Agent Rudowski's entries, is there entry of her phone showing steps during any time between 9:02 and 9:06? Do you see any on this page from 8:53 to 8:55?
No, sir.
If you'll turn to the next page, page 46. Going down to your steps, is there any recording of phone steps, phone recording steps, according to the data we now have for Maggie's phone at any point in time up to 9:02?
No, sir.
And had you repeatedly asked SLED to get the data from the OnStar, from the cell phones, to evaluate whether your phone and Maggie's phone were ever moving at the same time? You made that multiple requests.
I repeatedly asked David Owens about that information.
And when you asked that question, were you aware that Maggie's phone had been located, down the road, half a mile or more? Is that right?
Yeah, I knew where her phone had been located.
And why was it important to you to get that information?
Because I knew that whoever had done this to them had Maggie's phone. And I knew that my phone and Maggie's phone and my car were never together. At any point in time.
Sure. Now, you have given inaccurate times in many statements to law enforcement in this case, have you not?
I did.
And we reviewed some of those in your direct examination. I mean, one was Paul getting to Moselle around 5 p.m. Do you remember that?
I do.
Were you lying to Agent Owens or anybody when you said Paul got there at 5 p.m.?
No, I wasn't lying to him. I mean, I thought that at the time.
And when you,
And most of the times or a lot of the times when I gave times, I qualified them and say, but, you know, you can look at this. I pointed them to my office, to the call log, to the key card like we talked about, or my phone, or my own star.
and when you told the agents that you thought you got to the office 8:30, 9 o'clock on that morning of June 7th, well, you were wrong, right?
I was wrong.
Were you lying?
No, I wasn't lying.
And when Deputy Green drove up and you had your first encounter with him, I believe you told him that you had been gone to your mom's house for an hour and a half. Is that right? We just heard it.
The last one,
Yes, sir.
yeah, hour and a half. I think that is what I told him.
Hour and a half. And that the last time you saw Maggie and Paul was 45 minutes before that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And when you spoke to Deputy Green, it was about, I think the records show they didn't arrive on the scene until 10:22 or something like that. Is that right?
That sounds right. I mean, I think that's what the records show. That sounds right.
And that were you lying to Deputy Green when you told him what time, how long you thought you'd been at your mother's and the last time you saw Maggie and Paul?
No, sir, I wasn't lying to him.
Were you trying to mislead him in any way?
No, sir, not when Mr. Green got there.
Now, you've admitted in the first few questions that I asked you yesterday and multiple times today that you lied to Agent Owen and Deputy Rutland and Agent Owen and Agent Croft, and on a couple occasions about your whereabouts following dinner, correct?
I did lie to them, as we discussed repeatedly.
And you've explained that it was this addiction, opioid-induced paranoia you just couldn't shake. Is that right?
That's right. You know, like I said, there's certain things, anything, that make you paranoid, but I could get over it really quickly. But that night, I didn't.
And you had a bag of pills in your pocket, did you not?
I did.
And when you got down to the kennels, we're not going to repeat all that, but I mean, did you ever see anybody down there, anybody else?
No, there was nobody. There wasn't anybody down there when I was there.
And did you believe that the information, whether you were there or not there, would advance their investigation in any way?
No, I didn't. I didn't think that.
And why didn't you think that?
Because they were fine and doing good when I left there.
Did on the 911 call, do you remember that the call first went to Hampton?
I don't remember that, but I know that now.
And what we played here in the court in your testimony was the Colleton County handoff. Do you recall that?
I do recall that.
Okay.
I think at some point the part in Hampton might have gotten played too, didn't it? But I know the main part was the Colleton part, but it was like a minute into the call.
But initially it went to Hampton, then subsequently it was transferred to Colleton.
That's right.
And then a minute or so into the Colleton call, you said, "I've been up to it now." Do you remember that?
I do remember saying that. I remember hearing it. I don't remember saying that, but I remember hearing it.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, that is accurate. And by up to it, at that point, I had gone all the way up to them at that point. When I first got out, I was close, but I wasn't right at them, I don't think.
Right. You were asked about the roadside shooting, and your intent was to end your life that day, was it not?
It was, no question.
And you were shot but not killed, and then you made up a lie to law enforcement about what happened, right?
That's correct.
Were you trying to protect Curtis Eddie Smith by doing that?
Was I trying to protect Curtis Eddie Smith?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know exactly. It all had to come together so quick. I don't know that I was trying to protect Curtis Eddie Smith.
Okay.
I may have been, but it was just, you know, I wasn't supposed to be there. And then I was.
When you say I wasn't supposed to be there, what do you mean by that?
I intended for him to, I mean, I intended to be gone. I intended for him to shoot me, and I intended to be gone. And the one thing, my main concern at that point was that I did not want Buster knowing that I had tried to do that.
Okay.
That was my motivation in telling that story.
I see. Did you eventually voluntarily convey to Agent Kelly and others that was a fabrication?
I did. After, I don't know, a few days in detox, when I finally got over those initial, just where I could just function, I think I told you first, then I think I told Buster, then I think I told Randy and John, and y'all arranged either the next day or 2 days later to come, and we called Ryan Kelly.
Alex, you've lied to your family over many years, have you not?
I lied to my family about my addiction.
And you hid from them you were stealing client money, did you not?
Oh, I never, they didn't know anything about that.
And you've lied to your law partners about financial dealings and perhaps your addiction?
Yes.
And you've lied to law enforcement about not going down to the kennels after dinner, but eating dinner and taking a nap. Did you not?
I did.
Alex, did you murder Maggie?
I would never hurt Maggie.
Did you murder Paul?
I would never hurt Paul. If I was under the pressure that they're talking about here, I can promise you I would hurt myself before I would hurt one of them. Without a doubt.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Waters.
Please, court. You said that you were concerned when you talked to David Owen about the bag of pills in your pocket, correct?
I mean, no, sir, I'm not saying that I was concerned about that. I don't think I told you I was concerned about that. I'm just telling you that was a fact. I had a bag of pills in my pocket, and that was one of the things, that was one of the many things that came together that night.
And you're trying to tell this jury that as a reasonable husband and father in this situation, concern about a bag of pills in your pocket was more important to you than telling law enforcement and narrowing the time when you last saw your wife and son alive. That's what you want to convince this jury of?
No, sir, because, I mean, the bag of pills in my pocket was not what I was concerned about sitting in there. It was, as I said, it was one of the many things that was going on. But I wasn't sitting there worried about those pills in my pocket.
You were asked about requesting the phone and automobile data, and that was because as a prosecutor and a lawyer, you had been manufacturing an alibi to cover your tracks.
No, sir, that's absolutely wrong.
You admit you were wrong about a lot of things in what you told law enforcement about June 7th, correct?
I was wrong about things. Some things.
You were asked whether or not you voluntarily confessed to Agent Kelly, but you only did so after being confronted with undeniable information, correct?
No, sir, that's not correct at all. What I was told is that, and I believe this came from Randy, what I was told is that SLED had come up with some information that seemed like it was consistent with my story, and they needed me to verify some things, is what they told me. And, you know, I knew that resources had already been wasted. I didn't want them wasting any more resources, and I told them the truth, but there wasn't any, nobody had presented me with any evidence.
And you just testified that you told Jim Griffin first, correct?
I believe that I told Jim Griffin first.
But at that time, you didn't say anything about those kennels, did you?
To Jim Griffin at that
Correct.
time? No, sir, I didn't.
When you testified on direct yesterday, and you were asked about leaving the kennels with your new story, in light of the evidence that's been presented in this trial, your words were, "I got out of there," correct?
I believe that's what I said, yes, sir.
And you also said during your testimony on cross-examination that you hurt the ones you love the most, didn't you?
I did say that.
Thank you. Nothing further.
In saying that, Mr. Waters, I just want to explain that answer. I mean, he just asked me a question about what I said, and then I was going to explain why I said it.
All right.
As I told you earlier, you're implying to this jury and to me that was me talking about hurting Maggie and Paul. And that's not what that was. What that was is me saying, I know I hurt my brother, my partners, my clients, many of whom I told you I loved, all of whom I cared for. And that's what that was when I'm talking about how my misdeeds, how I hurt the people worst were the ones I loved the most.
I just asked you what you said, correct, Mr. Murdaugh?
You did ask me what I said, but in asking me that, you're putting an implication on there that I am explaining.
I just asked you what you said.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Step down.